Hello, we're back with another fantastic episode of BS Busters, and this one, it was almost like I could see into the future because the topic of this one is third-party companies so drunk, and I didn't think it's almost like it's gonna rain, syrup is sticky, lard is greasy, eventually that third-party video game companies gonna F up, somehow. And yet they have, yet again. So before we get further into it, we're going to have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the lady first. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to have some aspirin at hand. This is Joe Radio, and I'm the Rainbow Mage, or the gaming mage in this case. And third parties, you just started another headache.
All right, followed by Kenoshi.
Oh, this is Kenoshi Abominito, here to say that third parties are terrible these days. I mean, once upon a time, the dinosaurs roamed the earth and dragons flew the sky, ruled the skies. Third parties were actually pretty decent, but nowadays, not so much.
Yeah, I think they started going downhill during the 7th gen, but that's just me. And lastly, Triple M, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Triple M right here, and we got some companies that's going to be splatted.
Okay, and it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters, and we're about to talk about some bullshit that's been going on this week, and it's time to talk about it yet again. So, with that being said, let's go. Who wants to dive in first?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of out of the loop. I haven't been paying attention as much. What exactly happened?
Well, one of the big ones is let's see. What do we got here? I mean, we've got Capcom's continuous bullshit.
Capcom's always screwing up.
Yeah.
I don't trust anything they say.
We've got Square Enix putting Dragon Quest Builders 2 on the Switch in Japan, but there's no. They won't talk about localizing it on anything else. Bringing it to the U.S. or anywhere else.
Why are these companies so afraid of Nintendo? Is it just, can they not let the 80s and 90s go? Is it?
You want to know why third parties are afraid of Nintendo? Because they're afraid if Nintendo takes over the industry yet again, if Nintendo is the lead platform again, it will force them to actually make good games and not focus so heavily on good graphics. And they can't deal with that because good gameplay requires good developers, and good developers, a lot of these developers are garbage these days.
Aren't there developers? I know I was talking to Liger about this a few days ago. There are developers that would actually like that.
Well, some of them say that, but I mean, do their actions go with their words? I mean, hell, you could say anything. I mean, I could say, you know what? I wish that everyone would go vegan, and there was a moratorium on big fishing for the next 10 years, so that the fisheries in the world could replenish, so we would have, large tuna and salmon and lobster and crab and stuff like that. And that's a really good idea, but it ain't gonna happen. I mean, there's a lot of things I could say, but I mean, do their actions live up to their words? Don't everyone jump on that topic at once.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I guess you could say anything.
I mean, third parties do that all the time. They're like, yeah, I mean, they say, yeah,
Konami, Capcom, Square Enix.
yeah, we want to support Nintendo, and then they put games on the Nintendo system that they put like their
subpar.
their leftovers on a Nintendo system, and then they're surprised. Like it's like, you know, it's kind of like back during the 6th gen when like instead of putting a Final Fantasy on a Nintendo system, they put Crystal Chronicles, which is not a bad game, but it's not a Final Fantasy game. It's a fucking spin-off of Final Fantasy. Yeah. You know, which I mean, like, here's the thing, which is particularly egregious because Final Fantasy began on the Nintendo console.
For 6.
That's offensive. you know.
Yeah.
That's like you're a jazz musician, right? And like an old school jazz musician, and you got your start in some little hole in the wall back in the day, right? And the hole in the wall got burnt down and got rebuilt up and all that stuff. And then you come back there and you don't even play any of your old classic tunes that built your bones in that hole in the wall. No, fuck that. I'm gonna play some shit that no one likes. That's what they did. And they're surprised. I can't believe Final Fantasy didn't do well. On Crystal Chronicles didn't do well. No, really? No, I'm surprised.
And it's also because Sony had the mainline Final Fantasy stuff locked down as well.
Well, at the time, you're right. They did have a 10% stake in Square Enix at the time, which they have since sold off because Sony is desperate for money. But that's neither here nor there.
Isn't exactly doing as hot as they used to.
Well, that's because they ran their core franchises into the ground. And I mean, Final Fantasy is not what it used to be. Dragon Quest is the only RPG franchise that still has a consistent quality level. I mean, Chrono Trigger should have been a franchise, okay? And I don't mean re-releases. I mean, Chrono Trigger should have been. There should have been a Chrono Trigger on the SNES. There should have been a new Chrono Trigger on, like a continuation of the story on the PlayStation or whatever. There should have been a Chrono Trigger in the 6th gen, in the 7th gen, in the 8th gen. There should have been a Chrono Trigger every single generation.
At least one Chrono Trigger game for each generation.
That's what I'm saying. There should have been one per generation, and yet we've got one Chrono Trigger game. And I know people will say, "What about Chrono Cross?" It's not a Chrono Trigger game.
No, get that out.
It has half of the name, a few of the character designs in the manual, but that is not a Chrono Trigger game, and you'll never tell me that it is.
No. Yeah, get that Chrono Cross nonsense out of here.
Okay, no.
I have to forget about those games.
Hell, I mean, I've done podcasts with the Good Shepherd where we pulled together what like most fans of Chrono Trigger would like from a Chrono Trigger sequel, and Square Enix didn't do it, and they still won't do it. They will not make a Chrono Trigger sequel. It's not gonna happen. So let it go.
Then again. Square Enix has been away from RPGs.
Yeah, they don't really make RPGs anymore. They don't make RPGs anymore. Which is sad because they used to be the RPG people.
Yeah, I mean, 15 an RPG, 13 is definitely not an RPG.
Well, 13 is an RPG. It's just a very mediocre one. 13.2 is an RPG. 13.3 is not an RPG. 15 is not an RPG. It's an action game with RPG elements. 12 was an RPG. 11 wasn't an RPG. 10 was an RPG. 10.2 was sort of an RPG. 9,
Actually,
8,
10,
7.
10.2, but not in the sense that we usually would think of it.
Well, I mean, 10. That's why I said 10.2 is like a hybridization of an RPG. Hello, Induo. How's it going?
I'm alright.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Square Enix is not what they used to be. like the former CEO who got ousted out of Square Enix, he was like, this is the guy himself who said, he's like, Square Enix has casualized and trivialized and watered down their RPGs. Basically, Square Enix's need to become more, to appeal to a larger audience has destroyed what made them a big name in the first place, which was their Japanese-style RPGs, which is amazing to me because well, the thing that they thought was going to make them big and save them is what's kind of destroyed them. So,
well, that's why both of them right now are separated, and right now the Japanese version of it is trying to get back some of the stronghold from it. Because they just released their stuff with a lot of they had their little festival they had in Japan this week, and they got some games coming towards the Switch.
Oh yeah, they're trying to reclaim the good old days, and I'm like, well, I don't like as a Nintendo fan, as a Nintendo gamer who remembers when they actually made really good games on Nintendo platforms, and then just basically said F you Nintendo. I mean, we're like an abused spouse almost. I mean, can I trust you now after 15 years of you kicking me in the stomach and throwing me downstairs and me having to go and say, oh yeah, this black eye, I hit my eye on the door jamb.
I get what you're saying. I understand the abusive, but again, you got to also think of as we know, Final Fantasy became what it is because there was in there just like you said with Ubisoft with Vivendi. Like now that they're in desperate mode, they are trying stuff, and it look like some stuff is coming out of it. Because I said, Square Europe is doing, like I said, they're basically chugging along doing the same thing, and they're learning. It's still hard because again now. Is it IDOS? Not IDOS. It's the one whoever did Hitman, the studio doing that.
That was IO Interactive.
IO, they're right now is going problems now because they turned Hitman into episodic and they didn't work.
Yeah. Mr. Red Fox, the people already do that though when it comes to these companies. They make concessions for them all the time.
Well, people like to make excuses. They're like, well, okay. And here's the thing: the Hitman game actually did if they had kept the budget low, it would have done okay. But the problem is that Hitman is the type of game that's built around set pieces, and that's AAA game development basically. Is when you're doing set piece after set piece after set piece, and them turning it episodic. Hitman doesn't have that type of fan base where you can make something episodic and people would buy it.
It's not a Telltale game where you can get away with that, and for some reason these companies don't get that.
Well, I mean, they get desperate and they think short term over long term. Like Hitman, basically, if they were smart, what they would have done is instead of doing this episodic garbage, is they would have done like IO originally wanted to do, which was it was going to be a 2-part game. Like you would have gotten for $30, you would have gotten 3 or 4 episodes. If you pre-ordered it, you got a 4th episode, but 3 or 4 episodes for $30, and then if that's maybe that'd sell $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, and then they would use those funds, the profit from that to make the second part, and then that would be the thing, or you could wait and get the whole thing for $60 down the line with all the little bennies and stuff, but. Square Enix got scared and they were like, no, we need to do something now. And they were like, but it's not ready. This is a publisher issue, not a developer issue, which is sad. But what you gonna do?
That is what it is. But like I said, right now it looks like I said, the last 2 years, Square Japan has been changing up stuff, and they're doing. I mean, late to the game, but they're doing certain stuff. And like I said, the last festival they had this week, they have
I saw that. Yeah, Dragon Quest 2 coming to the system and some other stuff.
Yeah. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is coming in.
Dragon Quest Builders 2 plus Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah.
Oh, did they announce that?
Yeah, they did announce that, yes.
Okay, so, it seems like the people in Japan remembered Who Buttered Their Bread years ago when they got started. They're like, oh, shit, we got to remember who,
Yeah,
Like Nintendo's like, you can always come back home. We got your room for you. We'll got some good cooking for you. You know.
a lot of it's Square of Europe.
Yeah, no, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. Yes,
Yeah.
it is Square Europe. They're the one. It goes to what Red Fox just said. That all of the people who try to brand out so much that the Square Europe now is, they're doing all these other, but all these studios doing all this crazy stuff. Some of it did work out. Don't get me wrong, but a majority right now, the last 2 years have been falling back on them real hard.
A lot of those bad deals that were made by Square Enix, where they were like, "Hey, we're gonna make Tomb Raider reboot, Xbox exclusive," and it flopped, and we're gonna make the second game Xbox exclusive, that flopped too. And then they're like, "Well,
how many face plants are you supposed to do before you get it right?"
Yeah, we're gonna put this Japanese game, which listen, I don't have the data right now. Well, actually, no. Someone on one of my videos claimed, what data do I have to support that Japanese RPGs do badly on Xbox systems? And then I actually went and looked up all the data, like worldwide in the US. If you are a Japanese developer and you put a game on an Xbox system, if it's not dude bro to shit,
It's not Americanized.
it fails miserably. If it's a JRPG, you might as well just slit that thing's throat and kick it out the door because it's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, yep. I mean, I feel because like the Xbox crowd have gotten some good JRPGs, but unless Microsoft money had it, like that Tales game, they money had it. If it's a Japanese game, it hits the Xbox system, it fails. It's almost like, as a business person, it's hilarious watching something fail that badly because it's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. But as someone who loves JRPGs, it's like, damn. Like the Dude Bro console.
It's heartbroken.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because I'm like, man, like Blue Dragon would have been great on the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
Like Blue Dragon probably would have done really well on the GameCube, but because they made it an Xbox, was it the 360?
Yeah.
It was 360. Yeah, Blue Dragon would have done really well on the Wii or the GameCube, but it was a 360 exclusive, and I'm like, you shot that game in the ass. Why would you do that? Like, that game wasn't going to do well on the 360. It looked too kiddie. Now, me, as someone who grew up playing Dragon Quest games and Chrono Trigger, I love that shit. It's got Akira Toriyama's art style. I was like, this is going to be great. But Dude Bro Halo Xbox gamers, they don't want that shit.
Well, yeah, go ahead, sorry. I want to say something else. But go ahead, my mistake.
They want that shit from America. That's all I was going to say. Go ahead.
No, I mean, a good example is, as Red Fox said before, like Tales of Vesperia was for the Xbox. And it was a 1-year time exclusive, and it did 800,000 in not in a year, but in like over years. While because and this is not only just Xbox, it's also a gamer thing, which is bad. I understand that if a game went on another console, people forget if the game could come to get put into their console. Because now the Xbox One sold more than PlayStation 3, but it was a good game, but because it was a year exclusive, people forgot about Tales of Vesperia, and that game didn't do well.
Did Vesperia ever come to the PS3? I don't think it did. Was it an Xbox exclusive? Oh, okay.
No, it came to PS3 September 2009. On Xbox 360 came on August 2008. Was a year exclusive.
I might go and pick that game up because I like Vesperia is like one of the like that.
Well, I played it on Xbox, and it's a really good game.
It's the only Tales game, in my opinion, that kind of approaches as good as Symphonia.
But
not quite as good, but it's up there.
It's still good. It's good.
I heard the PS3 version didn't exactly run the greatest.
So again, I couldn't hear you.
it was a shitty port from the 360 to the PS3.
It could have been. I gotta say, it could have been. I played it on the 360. I played it on the 360, so I can't. And that could be a problem too. That it was a bad port. Again, I don't know because I didn't play it on the. Because
we all know Namco Bandai has trouble with ports. Don't get me started with Symphonia.
Symphonia on PC. Yeah, that was not good. So you're right, Kadoshi. That could be the problem too. Not arguing, but I'm just saying. That's not nowhere close to what the others were where it made money. So I'm just gonna example what Red Fox was talking about. That's all. Go ahead.
The only reason that Namco Bandai didn't feel as bad about that deal is that game was money hatted by Microsoft. So even if it sold like abysmally, they were like, well, shit, we got our money. So either way, we're good. But I mean, like, if you're a Japanese company and you're not getting money hatted and you put a game on the 360 and it's a JRPG, yeah, it ain't gonna make it. He did. That's. I mean, it's sad, but
that's what happened.
Yeah. So it seems like Square Enix is at least the Japanese portion of Square Enix is getting their shit together. So I'm happy. Because if Dragon Quest probably won't get localized by Square Enix, but if it sells well in Japan, Nintendo might say, hey, this might do well at other places, and they might localize it themselves, which is what they've been having to do anyway for Square Enix Japan, because like, I don't know what is with them and not localizing their games. I mean, I know localization is expensive, but goddamn.
That's what I want. I want to. This is me asking this question. I don't know the answer. It's just one of those hypothetical questions. I want it because they've been separating themselves from Square Europe. That they're basically Square Europe is like, okay, you do shit on your own, and Square Japan is using their own capital.
Well, that could be the case, but even then, this is a business. If they know they have a good game and they localize it themselves, that means that the Western part of the company can't say, "Well, you need to give us all that money." They take the risk, but they also get the reward from it.
Well, I mean, if your parent company, if you do something, they still get some money out of it.
Obviously,
that's that. But I'm saying that if they're saying they're doing things differently, like you just said, they took a risk and do something like how Game Freak did with Timbo the Bad Elephant. Like, they separate themselves and they do it on their own, even though it didn't work out. Then I could see that, and they took their own money. They didn't take the money from Nintendo. They didn't take the money from Pokemon Company because those games didn't have to do nothing with that. It didn't work out very well for them, but hey, it is what it is. But that's what I'm trying to ask right now. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not suggesting nothing. I'm just asking a question because you are separated from that company. Because we asked a question before on BS Bustin' on my podcast. Like, okay, Nintendo did the localization for Bravely Default, the first one. So why did you do it for the second one? That was a head scratcher to me.
Yeah, and this is just supposition. I have no evidence of this.
That's why I asked the question too. Yeah, I think
that Square Japan is building up their cash reserves in Japan, and games those deals that they do that Nintendo like publishes it. That way, the money gets funneled into them because Nintendo's a Japanese company, and they don't have to give as much to Square Europe. And I think what they're doing is building up their cash reserves. So when Square Europe implodes, because Square Europe's been having some bombs drop. I don't mean good bombs. I mean, like, oh boy.
Some real thinkers, right?
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, I could go with your theory.
So they can say, hey, we're gonna split ourselves off. You guys can call yourselves whatever the fuck. We're keeping Square Enix. And fuck you guys. Like, that's what I think that's what they're building up the cash reserves to do, so that they can buy themselves out from under that horse. Because Square, the European part of Square, it's like they don't know anything about the video game industry worldwide. Maybe in Europe they do well, but like
I was gonna say, Europe usually gives me how they treat Nintendo.
Well, Nintendo never really had that big of a presence in Europe.
Yeah, that's not their stronghold. So,
Nintendo is Japan and the U.S.
Sony Sony and PC is Europe.
Yeah, Sony and PC is Europe. Well, actually, you got to flip that. It's PC and Sony in Europe because PC.
Well, I'm talking about
actually,
like console. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
console.
PC's in America too, but like with all that, all the those FIFA and Pro Management soccer games and stuff like that. That's PC. Those guys are into that. They put hours into that shit.
You have to know, like after the North America, like during the North American crash, a lot of Europeans were playing PC games.
Yeah, because there wasn't a crash in Europe because the big thing in Europe was the PC anyway. So when the console crash happened, they were like, "Well, shit, I got my Amiga, bitch."
Well, that's why. Excuse me. That's why Rare was before they became Rare with Nintendo. But that's why Rare stayed doing PC for so long. Even the NES and Super NES before the Super that they had like dabble into one NES game. Did they dabble into one Super NES before they did Donkey Kong? I'm trying to remember.
I think they did Saberwolf on the they did Saberwolf Battletoads on the NES. Those two games, and then they did like a lot of freelance work for other people when they were still called Ultra. They did a lot of.
Is it Saberwolf the Killer Instinct character?
That's okay. This is how deep the lore is for Rare games before Microsoft fucked up Rare. But on the NES they did a game I think it was released in small batches or it was unreleased. It was finished but unreleased or small batches or whatever, and it was called Saberwolf. And you play as this Victorian gentleman who goes around fighting supernatural creatures. According to the actual hidden lore of Killer Instinct, that guy gets bitten by a werewolf and becomes a werewolf himself, and that's Saberwolf from Killer Instinct. Yeah, it's the same. Apparently, according to Rare's lore, that's the same guy. Which I'm like, damn, you guys built this whole world with all this cool stuff. It's a pity the company that owns you doesn't actually use any of this this lore.
Such a waste of lore.
But Phil Spencer, he wants to have first parties things like Nintendo. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so they did Saber Man, and they did Solar.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Saber Man. Yeah. It was Saber Man.
Yeah, Solar Jumpman. They didn't know. They jumped straight into, and it did Saber Wolf for the Game Boy Advance. That's later on, but that don't count. I'm talking about before they went to Nintendo. So yeah, that's the only games they did for that. Everything was before was a Commodore, Amiga, Atari, and stuff like that. So then they jumped in. Then they jump in with Donkey Kong and stuff. Wow, I thought they did a game before that. I swear.
Rare is. I mean, they are. Rare was Rare was a very European company. Okay, they were UK, and
I understand that.
European. I was talking to the general crowd. You know this stuff. We know this stuff, but I'm just Rare was a very European developers were vastly different from Japanese developers and American developers. You could feel the different flavors. See, now everything is starting to feel very samey.
Aren't they from Australia, or is that
No.
Who, Rare? They're from the UK.
Yeah.
UK.
Oh, okay.
Their offices were located. I don't know about now, but I know back in the day their offices were located in the UK.
No, it's in the UK, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think they opened a satellite office towards the end when they were with Nintendo in the US. And then when they got bought by Microsoft, I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about the Rare Microsoft games.
It was just explanation but we were just going back to, before we got derailed. I was just asking the question because, like you said, for how, because you can just ask how the European, that's what I meant. Their work in UK, that's what it is. It's mostly PC and PlayStation. When it comes to consoles, people, when I over there. Not this time. No, when I used to go over there when I was younger, everybody was talking about PlayStation at the time. So yeah, it was. Yeah. That's what started it over there as that.
Yeah, that's Sony's. But Sony spent a lot of money marketing things in Europe, and especially during the PS1 era, because a lot of the big PS1 games of the PS1 era were actually made by European studios. So they pushed a lot of those games out. Abe's Odyssey Abe's Exodus. Lauren Lanning is I think he's English. He's from the UK. The people who made Medieval, that was a European studio. They really pushed a lot of European games. The people who made Croc, European studio, or was that a European studio?
Croc, the lizard that kind of looks like a deformed Yoshi.
I think that was a European studio.
Yeah, because I guess the story behind Croc is they wanted to make a Yoshi game, but Nintendo wasn't been approved.
Yeah, you ain't making no damn 3D Yoshi game. That's what they said. Sit your ass down. You ain't making no 3D Yoshi game. Has Nintendo made a 3D Yoshi game yet? I mean, I know there's Mario 64 DS, but
no.
I mean,
they have not made a 3D. They have not made a Yoshi 3D world, nor have they made a Kirby 3D world.
That's what they need to do. That's what they need. That's what Nintendo needs to do. Make a 3D Yoshi and 3D Kirby game. And I don't mean like a spin-off, like an actual proper exploration. If it's a Kirby game, he eats enemies and steals their souls and turns them into
and of course use it for puzzles. Yeah.
Well, technically there is a 3D Kirby game coming only in the eShop, but that's not.
Oh, you mean that I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that game. Yeah, is,
I think Red is talking about kind of like a Mario 64 evolution.
What I'm saying is that Kirby and Yoshi haven't had their Mario 64 games yet. You know what I mean? They haven't had that game that's been like, here's the same formula in a 3D.
If you think about it, because Mario has it, Metroid has it,
Link had it,
Donkey Kong had it,
Samus had it,
Star Fox had it. So yeah.
But Kirby and Yoshi, they're just the odd men out. They just, although I don't know if Kirby is male or female.
But we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah. Kirby is just a Kirby.
Kirby. Let's call him the Kirby and Yoshi species.
Yeah,
but I could see more Kirby than Yoshi because, like I said, being that you have to say, okay, I can find this, I can find this person to solve this puzzle, I can find the right ability to do stuff. So yeah, it's a good idea. I think I hope they could do it.
You know what? If they did it, I would want them to do more in the vein of a Kirby Superstar than like a Kirby's Dream World style game because. It would get kind of tedious playing a straightforward style Kirby game in 3D, like Kirby's Dream World. That would be kind of weird.
Well, I would think that, like I said, I think they would have to, as we just said, I think we did the best word of saying is an adoption like Mario 64, like adventure. It has to be an adventure.
Yeah,
it's not like just straightforward, whatever. Have a couple puzzles in there. To break up the monotony. You have some because we know Kirby has to fight. You have some stages where Kirby has to fight the bosses like how Mario 64 is. I think Mario 64 is more inclined to Kirby than, like you said, like you could jump in and do what you have to do in that puzzle and stuff. And basically we got a taste of that with Triple Deluxe and Planet Robo. Like
that's what I would like.
Yeah,
that's my thing. I mean, I'm a Kirby fanboy. I'm not like Wonder Dean who, like, he loves Kirby. I mean, he loves Kirby, but I don't have that level of Kirby love. But I do like the pink puffball who has the ability to break a planet in half if he punches it right. I'm like, damn.
Or transform into a freaking ship at the end of one. Yeah. I'll say this, and right now for anybody out there, there's a great Kirby sale going on, 25% off a lot of good games. I mean, so if you have a 3DS or Wii U, if you want to pick up these games you never did, because I'm trying to pick up Return to Dreamland. I never bought it, so I could get it for 14. I think it's $14 for me, so I'll get that. But there's a lot. Basically, almost all, not all, but almost all of Kirby's games on the eShop. Like I said, 3DS and Wii U, if you have one, is on sale right now, and it's a good sale.
Yeah. So let's see here. Anyone else have anything else they want to say about Square Enix before we move on to the next part of the program?
Just make good games again.
I just
I got to say.
Like, just make good games again. Please. Please, Jesus. Look, I know you. The split between you guys was acrimonious, but look. I know this probably will never happen, but if the gods of all things good, video game gods of all things good, could make this happen, look, go get Mistwalker Studios and Monolith Soft, okay? Send them a dozen roses and say, look, we're sorry. Could you guys come together just to make a Chrono Trigger? To a real Chrono Trigger sequel, please. That's it. That's all. You do that, you release it.
Not likely going to happen, but
you do that and release it for the Switch, and maybe for the Switch and maybe PC, and make it so that it's not, like heavily. Don't focus so heavily on graphics. If you use Armorbird Studios, aka Akira Toriyama's thing, you won't need ultra high graphics fidelity. Look, that game will sell millions, easy, 5, 6, 7 million by itself. You put it on PC, that's another 5, 6 million right there. You got a double-digit seller, and all you got to do is get these 3 studios together, give them a good lead, get the old hero back, Hironobu Sakaguchi, because I don't trust those other bastards you got over there at Square Enix. Just because, look, I mean, really, look at Final Fantasy when they were running it. Look at it when he was running it. Enough said. So, yeah, just do that, and you guys will be fine. You'll have enough money to do whatever you need to do. Just you'll make it. Now, then after that, do a Super Mario RPG 2.
I would say if that
you're wishing for the stars, buddy.
Yeah, if that
actually, I think Super Mario RPG 2 would happen before Chrono Trigger.
As I said, you're wishing for those two.
I would say if that team up ever happens, before we're even going to get a Chrono Cross, they're probably just going to do another Final Fantasy game.
Oh hell no! No more Final Fantasy. Let this be the Final Fantasy for at least the next 5 years. But enough about Final Fantasy. So anything else anyone else wants to say before we move on to the last topic, which is legitimate reasons to bust Nintendo's balls?
What did I miss? Yeah.
Well, you missed the first topic, which we kind of went over because it was Capcom's continuous crappy cases, which, I mean, it's Capcom. Let me put it this way. If there was dog poo in the middle of the road and all you had to do was walk around it in order to not step into it, Capcom would literally see the dog poo and say, well, I got to step into this. If there's a problem, they will find it and get into it.
Enhance it.
Well, speaking about Capcom, which I was speechless with, that was the first thing that came up at the start of this cast. But yeah. I just want there's some actually few things I wanted to say something about Capcom. Before I go there, I just need to do a screen share. Great. You would think I have this. I would have this ready, but yeah. But all right.
We got time.
I'm just going to keep this short, though.
All right.
Okay. Here we go. Now, I'm mainly going to focus on Monster Hunter, or the performance of the Monster Hunter games that's been released. As you can see, the title from Nintendo Everything, Monster Hunter Double Cross and Generation doing well. Monster Hunter Stories underperformed. Now, I'm kind of surprised by this because you would think with Stories, it's not your same Monster Hunter type game. Like it says in the title, it has a story in it. So I thought that this would do reasonably well just because it's different enough. Now keep in mind that This game has been only been released in Japan so far, or has it come to the West as well?
It's only in Japan right now.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess this game was too different that not the core fans wasn't very interested in this game. But hey, at least it wasn't as at least it didn't get a backlash, as in like Federation Force.
God, I hate it when people say that.
Yeah.
You just trolling.
Well, in this I will troll because at least the Monster Hunter fans were actually much more respectable than the so-called air quotations Metroid fans. But I digress. Moving on. Now, I had a bit of a trouble when it came to this whole double cross. When I saw this piece of article, when the Switch, the Monster Hunter Double Cross Switch version is another test to evaluate the support for the Switch. Now, behind the scenes, we kind of I brought this up and kind of had a bit discussion. Now, some of you already pointed out, okay, this is Japan only, and it's on the 3DS. So I'm like, well, I kind of debated a bit, and I'm like, okay, that's totally fine. I'll leave it at that. And also, it was a game that came before Ultra Street Fighter 2. So I was like, all right, fine. But then I noticed the release date, which is, yes, March 18th, 2017, and only for the 3DS. But then I saw August 15th, 2017 for the Switch. And as much as I want to bury this in the hatch and actually give Capcom a pass for once recently. But when I saw that, I'm like, okay, it's Japan only. But then, wouldn't that basically say? Wouldn't that basically define that the comment that Capcom made that Ultra Street Fighter 2 would be the only port, the only game for the Switch to evaluate, and since it's done so well, we think any game comes afterwards, and regardless if it's Japan only or not, they will still bring it out. But when I noticed that, so I was like, Capcom, did you just lie to us again? But maybe this is just my thought. Any of you guys can delve in, because I am still. It's kind of a head scratcher.
I agree. I mean, if you're not localizing something that is a big hit with then there's something odd with your something else here.
Well, I'm just going to say this. I could understand why it didn't sell that well in Japan, because the Japanese, they like Monster Hunter for that social aspect where you can play with your friends and all that type of stuff.
Hold on, Red. You're talking about Monster Hunter Stories, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Keep going.
Yeah, I can understand why that didn't sell that well in Japan. But the thing is, for people like myself who Monster Hunter, I've had my fill of, look, you're talking to a Phantasy Star Online vet. I've had my fill of games like Monster Hunter with Phantasy Star Online. I never want to put hundreds. I put the clock counter on Phantasy Star Online was 999 hours and 999 hours, 99 minutes, and 99 seconds. I broke that clock. It's maxed out. I've played longer than 1,000 hours. Okay, well longer than 1,000 hours. Okay, literally, I can't. I don't want to play that type of game ever again. So I don't want to put that type of time in a game ever again. So unless it's like an RPG or something. So for me, Monster Hunter Stories looks like a fun game. So like I'm that other part of the Monster Hunter fan. I'm not a fan of mainline Monster Hunters, but I'll play something that's a spinoff. So.
Okay, now you did mention some time ago that you kind of equate the mainline Monster Hunter game with Harvest Moon, right? Or
no, Phantasy Star Online.
Phantasy Star Online. Okay. Now, now I get what you say that you're more into the whole story-based type of RPG, with stories, Monster Hunter Stories, is basically that. And here's the thing: reason why I brought up the whole Federation Force backlash, because I would bet at least Monster Hunter Stories would perform much better, at least in the West, because it didn't have that much backlash to begin on it.
Which is odd.
Yeah. So I'm hoping when it comes to the West, it'll fare better.
It'll do okay. I don't think it's gonna do great, but it'll do okay. It'll do all right.
Right.
But that's just me. I'm just a dude.
Just a dude with a different taste.
Look, here's the thing. It's a spinoff. Spinoffs typically don't take off like gangbusters. That's just not how spinoffs work. So, that's okay.
Right. Anything about Monster Hunter Double Cross?
I think that's going to do well because it's like in the vein of what they like. So it'll do well, I guess.
Oh no! I what I meant with Double Cross is that it's another test game, which basically contradicts the whole comment that
Ultra Street Fighter 2 Final was supposed to be a test, and then the other one's a test. Well, Capcom is a game company, and that's what video games do. Just when you think, isn't that like standard thing? Just when you think it's the final boss, no, that wasn't the final boss. This is the final boss. So it's only fair that Capcom would do that. They're a game company. That's what they look. I don't know if people know this, but Capcom is not in the best financial situation. So, they're doing what they need to do to make money. I'm not going to get mad about that. I will get mad when they bullshit people but they're doing what they think they have to do in order to make cash. And I can't get mad at that because they are a business and they have been doing very badly over the last few years.
Generations?
Well, for the last 2 or 3 generations, in my opinion, I think Capcom started to go downhill at the 7th gen because they started making games that just weren't working.
Now, here's the thing with me. This really wouldn't be a bother to me if they didn't say that Double Cross is another test game.
Yes.
And I know this was talked in a Q&A briefing. Now, if I knew, probably they wouldn't expect if someone would actually caught on this, or even they would say, this is just Japan only. They wouldn't care about it. But when you look at the whole picture, yeah, contradiction right there. And if they knew the Q&A briefing is going to be publicized, maybe they shouldn't have said that.
Well, look, like I said, they've been messing up for years, and they're just doing what they think they have to do in order to, Yeah,
I wouldn't mind that. Like you said, we all know they're dire straight in their
in their cash flow.
Yes, because I think with what Liger said before, because they've passed that point that they don't have enough money to even buy themselves back from the banks or the shareholders.
And that's terrifying.
Well, I mean, it sucks for them. I mean,
So yeah, to be honest, I wish they must. I know, yeah, like I said, they're in this dire situation, and I wouldn't mind if they just do what they need to do, but don't do it in a way that you're going to rile some feathers up, and especially from
the fans.
Yeah. Well, from the fan base that's actually giving you the money.
Well, I mean, they desperately, at this point, they desperately need at this point, they like Capcom has all these IPs, and they need to, like, I think they need to go back to basics and stop trying to focus on incredibly good-looking graphics and start focusing on their old. Because here's the thing: Capcom has some really good IPs.
Oh yeah.
And they don't want to use them. I mean,
But you know what? It's kind of interesting that you brought up that whole the whole graphics thing, because at least with the Monster Hunter franchise, they're not really graphically intensive. Heck, even the one that was ported on the Wii U, that was basically a 3DS port until World came into picture.
Well, that's true, but I'm just simply saying that, like, okay, would it be that expensive for Capcom to make a Final Fight trilogy?
Not that much, or not really.
Would it be expensive for them? Okay, the graphical style to make a Breath of Fire 1, 2, 3, and 4 and put it on everything, including the Switch. Maybe not the 3DS, but the PS4, the Xbox One, the PC, the Switch. I mean, put it on everything except the 3DS. Sorry, not the Switch. I mean, wouldn't that? I mean, like, that's not. I mean, yes, and I know those are old games, but I mean, people like those games. They don't like Breath of Fire 4, but I mean, like, they could use a small budget and just, like, if these games sold 1 million, that's for on a small budget, on like 100,000, maybe 500,000 at the biggest. Just to port these games over with some new, maybe like some, maybe a nice shell, maybe the Final Fight trilogy. Like you can play, like once you beat it, you can play as other characters from other Final Fights. Like maybe you can play as like enemies. I don't know. Like, I mean, that seems like that would be easy for them to do and cheap. Like, I don't know why they won't even do that. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. Well, on to my next topic, and the reason why I kind of left this for the last, because I want to bright this part of the show a little bit. Finish it off with with something much more bright in some way. But here we go. Ubisoft was surprised by the ease of Switch development while making Mario Rabbids no issues with Snowdrop engine. The same way that we can see from that other game that's called Steep.
And watch the third parties try to hide this from being the Nintendo shouldn't have third parties.
Now, hold on. Let's not go there yet. But now, like I was saying with Steep, which is, I'll be honest, I'm actually interested in that game. But now, since I've seen this, I went to the source of this article, and I came up with this interview, which if you see on the yellow highlight here, which the interview was asking, did they had problems with developing for the Nintendo Switch, and they said, and a Ubisoft employee or PR said, actually we were really surprised about how easy the development for this system is. I don't want to sound like a Ubisoft or a Nintendo fan. I don't know why they have to put that in, but I guess because at least this particular person must have seen Nintendo fans actually put fight on the whole thing that is easy to develop games on the Wii U. Not easy to port, which is another something that is questionable to me. But I digress. But I wish he didn't have to say that. But I guess for some reason he wanted to say that. But yeah. But when we got the dev kit and put the Snowdrop engine onto the Switch, these two perfectly fit together. The Snowdrop engine, which is our engine for almost everything, and which we used for the last South Park game, getting to that, is so versatile that we quickly lost our worries about the development. Now, it's a good thing that you mentioned about South Park, because that means, okay, so any game that they've made on that Snowdrop engine, which is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is steep, will also come to the Switch, and possibly we might see South Park. The
fractured butthole.
Thank you, the fractured butthole. So just by this comment, might be coming to the Switch as well. But and as much as I want to finish this up in a brighter note, there's a big but. Remember last time that some developers did say that it was kind of great to work on the Switch because it didn't have much of a drawback. Well, afterwards, or at least some of these developers actually did bring out at least one game on the Wii U, and afterwards, even though it kind of some sold well, some didn't, the support was gone. So I am not going to expect, keyword expect, that I am going to see that South Park game coming on the Switch. I'm not going to expect that until I actually see it with my own bloody eyes.
What can I say? Here's what
waiting a long time, buddy.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to say. Ubisoft said the same thing about the Wii U. Oh, it's so easy to port for. Oh, it's so easy to develop for. It's so cheap. And then they basically just said, well, F it.
Retreat.
So I can't, like, a lot of this is PR speak in order to basically make things,
it's
better.
the cover behinds.
Yeah, to cover their ass. So I can't really, I can't like get 100% behind all of this. But with that being said, I do think that.
This is the way I should have said it. To the people that wanted third-party games to come on the Switch, just because you see this comment right there, or this reply right here, don't put your hopes up and expect that it's going to happen. Because a lot of you guys felt that last time. And if you guys haven't learned from last time, and you felt for this again, and probably knowing full well that nothing is going to come out of this, it's your own damn fault. That's all I'm going to say. So don't be mad, don't be angry, because they didn't say anything yet. So at least this, I would still get, at least with Ubisoft, I would still give them a pass because they didn't announce anything. They just said it works fine. But to you people who expect this thing to come in and it didn't come to fruition, it's your fault. I'm done.
Yeah. So, like I said, I mean, you know, we've seen this before. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, it's got to be exactly what they said every time, because we've seen how many times they've kind of not gotten that right. So, you know, I'm not gonna just go with it, but hopefully, you know, Ubisoft sticks to their guns this time. It doesn't get scared, or at least they're more scared of Vivendi destroying them than they are of not getting games out. So maybe that'll work. So.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay. Let's.
Liger, are you still here? Oh, snap, he's not here.
I dropped out.
Well, let's move on, Red.
So this next one is legitimate reasons to bust Nintendo's balls. These are legit reasons. These are, you know, things that actually kind of sort of, you know, make sense. So who wants to go first?
Now I'll be last because I got
Get the obvious one if you want.
I got some screen sharing to do, so let me be last.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Unless someone brings it up.
I was ready to go first. I almost thought that I was going to go second.
No, you go first.
I think
go
they
ahead.
should. I think they should bring a lot of the special editions they bring to Europe over to the U.S.
Okay, that's fair.
This is the reason why I thought I was going to go second. So, one big arguments I'm never gonna hear the end of, especially when it's happen next year. And Red Fox is probably aware of what I'm gonna go for.
Go ahead, go for it.
Online interactions and stability.
Okay.
All right.
You want to go? Do you want to go further with an explanation?
Yeah, because I mean that doesn't really. Could you elaborate, please?
Okay, let's for internet service of this that should be that you're not getting for free. Shouldn't you be having better connections, less dropouts?
That's true. I mean, I didn't drop out of any. I didn't drop out of any things in Splatoon 2. But how many matches did I have during the Splatfest where, like, literally, I'm inking my heart out, and I look back, and someone's just on the spawn point looking down because they bugged out. I mean, it's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, it's happened to me too. Right.
And I'm like, you know, like, it would have been acceptable when it was free because it's like, well, I'm not paying for this. You know, I got to take what I can get. But now that this is now becoming a paid service, it needs to be a little bit better. And like I said, this is the second game. If this was the first game, it's like, well, you know, they're still getting their shit together. But, I mean, Nintendo should know how to do online now.
As I said, I know you were going to say the moment I said it.
And this game hasn't outsold the first Splatoon, so I don't really know what the problem is. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on, Red. Are you saying that because there's some dropouts The reason why oh crap, how can I say this? Because there's players dropping out of a match. They should need to be able to fix that, right?
I'm saying that, okay, if I have 3 issues, legitimate issues. Okay, the first one is, okay, the online services need to be better now that they are charging people for it. Not now, but eventually they're going to be charging people for it. And if you're having these issues on something like, you know, on something that you're eventually going to be charging people for, there's a problem. Number 2, this is not the first online-centric game Nintendo has had with dedicated servers. Mario Kart 8 had dedicated servers on the Wii, on the Wii U. Mario Kart, Splatoon had dedicated servers. I think Mario Kart Wii had dedicated servers too.
No, wait. I don't think Mario Kart 8 had dedicated servers. Not even Mario Kart Wii.
No, Mario Kart Wii had dedicated servers because they eventually took them offline.
Okay, because at least what Liger has told me, I wish he was here, because I heard that Splatoon was the first one that actually has dedicated servers.
Okay, then fair enough. But my point still stands that they have all of these online games now. They need to be paying better. I mean, like, it's not like this is like their first online game. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wait, now if you're talking about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that one is still on open air because no one confirmed that it was actually on a dedicated servers or not. So yes, you can probably put Deluxe on that as well.
Okay. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
What about the third? Because I don't think you've mentioned the third.
The third one is I just think they need to fix how they basically do some of the online stuff. It's with their Splatfest.
Some of the online services.
It seems kind of weird to me that they're online. That like the Splatfests were just not very well balanced in terms of population.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, ketchup looks pretty popular, so I don't.
No, even it's not even that. It's just like, okay, let me put it this way. And once again, I've said this before. It wouldn't be that bad if this was the first game, because it's like, okay, there's no real it makes sense. But this is the second game in the franchise. Like they should know how to do this.
All right. Since even though I have the game, I played online, but I have the first game. I played online, but I didn't get a chance to play any Splatfest because I got it late. So if you can explain for me, or at least give me an example, because when you said about the whole population thing during the Splatfest, I can understand with that, but then it's also based on a voting system.
No, when I say the population is jacked, I mean like, okay, yes, there are a lot of people who chose ketchup over mayo. Fair enough. But I shouldn't be getting I shouldn't be in 5 matches, even if there is a huge imbalance where it's the same team versus itself, like ketchup versus ketchup versus ketchup versus ketchup, and one ketchup versus mayo.
Well, here's the thing. Like you said, that's an imbalance in itself. But when I say because it's based on voting on the voting system, I guess even with a better algorithm, if they have or in the future, but I'm guessing there was still too much players that voted the catch up that you will keep having.
No, I understand what you're saying with that, but here's the thing, and this is why I said my second point was so relevant, is because if this was the first Splatoon where you had those same issues, I'd be like, okay, that's understandable. But they solved this with the last game, where you'd have like major things, and they would still balance it out so that you weren't playing the same team over and over again. So it's like they started from scratch all over again, even though they had already solved the issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but again, if it's still too many people on the one side,
that's the thing. It's like we've had we've had Splatfest in Splatoon 1 where you'd have really imbalanced teams like that, and yet it still got solved. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
understand what I'm like. That's not the issue.
Well, here's the thing, Red. Here's the thing. I can see that, and probably those Splatfests that you didn't get you haven't been pushed to fight the team that voted the same thing that you have. Probably is because, well, at that point in time, or at the time that you've been playing, the algorithm. How can I say this? At that time, the algorithm is in favor of you to actually get teams from the other side.
See, that's the thing. See, what I'm saying is that the algorithms, like, okay, I was playing Splatoon when it first came out, played all the Splatfests, all of them, okay?
Yes.
What I'm telling you is that, like, they had the same issue. They fixed it, okay? They already had it fixed. It's already been fixed. That's what I'm saying. So, and yet with this new game, you're having the same issue all over again, like they didn't learn anything, which is weird to me.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing. You're saying that it got fixed, but
yeah,
you're not the only person that's actually playing the game. So this is how I'm seeing it. In most of the Splatfest that you didn't encounter that problem, maybe someone else or on the other team actually did have that kind of problem. Mind it, if the voting was really one-sided, because I knew for a fact that there was some Splatfest that one side was actually really larger than the other. So, and I can understand why some players will go against the team that was in their same side. So when you say that it got fixed, maybe that's because you experienced the fix, but not everyone or the entirety that was playing the game.
What I'm saying is that I'm not saying this isn't something that just happened to me. I'm saying that literally the entire community, okay, this is not just my experience, the entire community who had been playing it when they were having Splatfest on the first Splatoon had basically seen where in the beginning we had these same issues. One side would choose the same thing as the other. Okay, fair enough. And then later on you'd have similar things where one side would choose the same thing as the other, and yet because they had fixed their algorithm, you didn't have those same issues. You see what I'm saying? The algorithm has already been set. They already have the solution, and yet they did not use it, which is what I'm saying. That is the problem.
And I'm
that
saying,
was my issue.
And I'm saying, yes, it is an issue, but I am saying that not everyone I've seen actually seen that issue fixed in the first game, because it was still happening even in Splatfest. There was still some Splatfests that was one-sided votes. Because that's where I'm getting this. If you're saying it's fixed, I'm still seeing some people that actually still got that problem. Well, in the years that they were playing Splatfest, that the voting was really one-sided. That is the one thing, that is actually one type of issue that I'm seeing that may not resolve unless, unless the voting is actually much more balanced than it can. But yeah, the other issues, those I can understand, those I can put forward. But this one in particular, they can try their best, but that issue will still keep coming up.
We shall agree to disagree.
Fair enough. All right, any other issues? Even if it's with just Splatoon 2.
That was the only one. That was the only one I had. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, Nintendo needs to do this, Nintendo needs to do that, Nintendo needs to. I mean, they're a video game company. They don't do everything perfectly. You know, I mean, they
that Nintendo's going to be following the stupid at times.
You know, they do the best they can, but at the end of the day, they just make video games. They're
just
not,
one soul.
You know, they do the best they can, but they're only human. You know what I'm saying? They're only.
And these percentages are percentages.
And apparently someone's Splatooning.
You know, they're only human. You know, they're made of humans.
You were saying, Joel, right? Sorry, you kind of sounded like you got cut off.
I was saying that they're mortal.
They're made of humans. They're only humans, and that's just the way it is. You know, people tend to forget that. You know, these are human beings. They're not perfect. They make mistakes. Unlike what some people would have you believe that they're perfect, they're not. They are not perfect. They F up. They F up just like everyone else. You know, because that's what human beings do. Human beings are not perfect, and these people are human. They're not machines. They are human beings. They make mistakes. They F up. They do stupid things. You know, I mean, I have to give it to Nintendo. They tend to be, because they're so conservative, they don't make as many mistakes as some other companies, but, you know, they F up just like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, some people would make you believe that since we're Nintendo fans, we think Nintendo is infallible, which just isn't true.
They aren't. They do make, look, here's what I'll say about Nintendo. They overall are a solid B company, okay? Like, you know, when they F up, the good they do overshadows their F ups, in my opinion. But they aren't perfect. A perfect company is like A pluses, and no company is getting A pluses. I mean, none of them. Okay.
I was gonna say, people are gonna say, I'm gonna hear the strawman say, "And so perfectly." Yeah, I got a bill figure for that.
So that's it. That's all I gotta say. That's. Anyone else have any legit complaints and not just, you know, Nintendo didn't change my diaper last night. They suck.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to complain about Nintendo because, I mean, they screw up from time to time, but I have, so it's like, not really much to say, I guess.
Okay, Jewel Rider?
Yeah.
Oh, you've already brought up your arguments, right?
Which was online. And I let the boys expand from there.
Oh, all right, okay. Well, if Dragon doesn't have anything.
I mean, mine are just could be half baked. I mean, I guess some of the DLC practices for the Super Smash Brothers Wii U just, I guess, being overpriced. Maybe.
I could understand that, but that wasn't Nintendo. That was Namco Bandai.
Oh yeah, it's hard. I guess the lack of use for gamepad for Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which from Indual, and we all kind of wish he was here. Was there, but it isn't. But that's kind of a nitpick. So yeah, I really don't have much.
That'd be my nitpick as well.
Yeah.
But then, you know what? It's great that you brought that up, because I think we've all seen that. I think it was a review or an impression of Breath of the Wild, or someone's opinion, that they felt the menu system for Breath of the Wild was clunky, and I'm like, the way how he explained it, I really couldn't understand if it's really clunky, or just the person really doesn't have a not awareness. Perhaps I forgot that word. But it was basically, if you do it enough times, you actually get you can actually do it by second nature, but I digress. But anyway, now it did make me thought about, if you say that that is clunky, then I get this is just me saying. So I guess maybe if Breath of the Wild had those gamepad dual screen functionality, I guess it would be much easier for you. But I digress that part.
I mean, look, Breath of the Wild is not perfect. There is no perfect game. I would say overall, it's a solid game. Well, it's more than solid. It's good. I won't say it's perfect. Does it have some glaring issues? Yes, but overall, they're minor compared to the overall game. And I give it points for how ambitious it is as a game. And my only real pet peeve with the game is that I think some things they didn't go far enough, and some things they went a little too far. But that's neither here nor there.
True. So that was it, Dragon?
I mean, I guess one time I encountered a glitch in Xenoblade Chronicles X that I was stuck to the ground for some odd reason, but that was just solvable by just fast traveling.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me.
Yeah.
Right. All right. If there's nothing left, I'll go ahead. Now, I did brought up the whole that fiasco that happened with that Pokemon Go Fest. I will say some part of the problem should be blamed on Niantic slash well, just a collaboration with Nintendo or Game Freak. But yeah, I will say the way they handled it, pretty decent. Although it could have been a bit
giving people $5.
Actually, it was $100. Well, was it $5 or was it $100 refund? But it was an in-game currency, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I've heard that I've heard some stuff that how they set up the place. Now, here's the thing. I really didn't mind that the whole the people that was holding that thing, they really didn't know that they would be over capacity, so much so that people from all the way from the other country or from another state would actually fly to them. But they set it up in a way that they thought that only the only people that was there that was living there locally would join in. And they actually did say to these phone line providers to what they brought in. Niantic felt that this might be not enough to hold the service for the possible amount of people that wants to partake in this event. And the line providers were basically like, no, it's okay. We got this. We got this. This event could handle. So yeah, go on with the show. And then
that does seem a little weird to me because I mean, like here's the thing. They know that Pokemon Go is this huge phenomenon. So why would they be like, we didn't know this many people would show up? Or if they had advanced they should have had they should have been like, I mean, this shows you how badly run it was. They should have been like, okay, if you're coming, print out this Eventbrite ticket. It's free, but Eventbrite. So we get a head count of how many people are showing up. Oh shit, this many people. Okay, we need some extra servers. I mean, it's like it's kind of badly run. I'm like, you really don't know. Like, and here's the thing: these people, their job is to, like, presumably someone's job is to know about servers and server load and all that stuff. So they should have been like, oh, these many people are going to be here. Okay, we need to have some extra servers here. Like, even if, like, rent them just for, like, 2 days or something, we need to, because we can't have this. And I'm like, this is badly run. This is kind of piss poor. I don't think this was Nintendo doing this, because Nintendo, if you know anything about branding, they don't F around with their branding. This was Niantic. This was Niantic's F up. Yeah, but at which point it kind of looks bad, that game. It looks bad on them because Nintendo's associated with Pokemon. But like, if you know what's actually going on, that wasn't Nintendo. That was Niantic.
Niantic.
Yeah. Now here's the thing.
Niantic, whatever.
Yeah. Yes. Now here's the thing. I wish Niantic was a little bit more forceful to get to make them get more of that server running, because when the countdown was flinging at them, that's when the line providers was like, oh snap, we gotta get more service in this thing.
You mean when the shit hit the fan?
Yeah, when it hit the fan. So it's like, wait a minute, you guys had this opportunity to do that to begin with, but yet you scoffed it off. Well, guess what? You guys made your bed. So hopefully next time, if Niantic would do this kind of event again, hopefully they would be much more forceful with the phone line providers. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, Niantic has made a lot of money off this game. I mean, they should have known. Like I said, you know, we're gonna need some servers. We're gonna need this. We're gonna, like, I mean, they make games. They should have known.
And they have a game reality too. I mean, augmented reality too. So they should have been ready.
I mean, like, okay, let me put it this way. It would be understandable if they were like, hey, we've never made a video game. we don't work with server loads and stuff like that. But this is their job. I mean, okay, that's like me as a barcade owner not knowing logistics. Like, I mean, like, look, I'm not handling nearly as many people as Niantic, but I know logistics, right? I know
prepare for at least 5 times your customer base.
Like, okay. I've had to throw events where I'm like, okay, these many people are going to show up, so here's what I'm going to have to do in order to make sure this stuff works, right? So, I mean, if I know that, and I'm like I don't have that many, like, I'm not doing like 50, however many people, like 200, like, I don't know how many, like, a lot of people. I'm not doing that amount. But if I know, okay, I need to open up an Eventbrite page, so I have a head count of how many people, so I have a general idea of how much stuff of how much food, how many booze, how much of whatever I need to have here. Like, if I know that, and I'm just a little, you know, small business owner, and these people can't see none, and that's their job. Like, what's the excuse here?
Yeah, like I said, Niantic knew that they're probably going to be overcapacitated. They were just too lenient on that.
No, you can't say, well, we didn't have no money. Really? You didn't have the money to get extra servers? I mean, they didn't have to buy them. They could have just rented them for 2 days. We're going to need extra server capacity, 2 days. I mean, seriously, bro? I mean, seriously? You're going to roll with that, son?
now, I will say to be fair, because some time ago, there was reports kept popping up saying that Pokemon Go is becoming a fad. So, yeah, you can say that.
Tell all those people that popped up, man.
Yeah, that could have contributed to the whole misinformation. But I'm like, yeah, you guys need to pay more attention. But yeah, now onwards to my really good one that I really do not like. Now remember those whole amiibos thing, the amiibo functionalities for Metroid Samus Returns?
You mean the hard mode that's locked behind a amiibo?
Oh yes, that fusion.
About that.
Now here's the thing: when I heard about that, when it was basically confirmed, at least in the West, that you can only get it, you can only acquire that mode through the amiibo, which is that squishy young Metroid. And when I heard about that, I'm like, okay, that is kind of bull. But even though the first game didn't have, I don't think the first game actually had a hard mode, but it's still bull. But then some people actually translated the Japanese side, basically contradicting what the West was saying.
Well, the first game kind of did. Like, the first game didn't have a hard mode, but the first game was not easy. It was not an easy game to play. Like, it had, like, if you wanted to get the best ending, that was your hard mode.
Oh, okay.
Like, beating that game in under 30 minutes and fighting the Metroid Queen, oh shit, that was your hard mode. That was not easy.
So Return of Samus so the base game was its own hard mode. You just have to play that certain way, or play fast enough to experience that hard mode. But yeah, okay, yeah, I can see that. So at that point, when we found out about the whole the Japanese translation, I'm like, oh, all right. Now we're in a point that it's getting ridiculous. Two sides of the same coin is not saying the same thing. So I was okay. Let us wait until something actually definitive pops up. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present you the definitive answer, and I'm hoping you guys can see what I am sharing on the screen. Crap. Are you guys seeing it?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can.
I'm being like Kenoshi in playing Splatoon while I'm talking to you guys. Show me. What did you show? What?
Oh snap! Apparently it's not showing. I don't know what the heck's the freaking problem.
What was it?
Try again.
I was basically showing the Tumblr Nintendo's Tumblr.
I see it.
Finally, I don't know why it's, but yeah. Now
Metroid Samus Returns amiibo functionality.
Yes, we finally got the definitive answer. And if you scroll some part down, which you'll get to the baby Metroid in its all entire 360 spinning glory, but then you find this certain paragraph. It's basically said, beat the game at least once, then tap this amiibo to unlock fusion mode, the game's hardest difficulty mode. When I saw that, I'm like, okay, you beat the game, but yet you still need the amiibo to unlock that fusion mode.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
I'm
not going to buy the amiibo anyway because I'm not really that big into amiibo. Like, I get the ones I want, and then I'm like, I'm done, you know?
Really? Not even for this squishy baby Metroid?
I have the best amiibo. I have the original game, so there you go.
You know what?
That's the best amiibo. That trumps everything.
You know what? That's a good one. That is a good one. I'll give you that one. But yeah. So at least to me, this I really do have a problem with it. But then Liger did say, I wish he was here. But yeah, Liger did say that people were complaining that the amiibo wasn't doing enough for it to be a worthy purchase. And they kept saying that while some people did give examples of how they could do that, it was literally too few. So to the many that did not go into examples, but still wanted the amiibo to have some function that is worthy of purchase, well, ladies and gentlemen, you got this.
There you go. There's an entire mode that you don't get unless you friggin' own this game.
Yeah. So as much I call it bullocks, but then most of you brought it on yourselves. And no, this is not me giving less flack to Nintendo compared to the other companies who've done far worse. Oh no, my friend, I did give them the reason why they're, well, at the beginning when they were first doing it, I call bullocks. But then when they keep doing it, I'm like, what's the problem? What's the problem here? And only that I'm noticing, yeah, people are still buying it. Complain, but still buy it. Or maybe there wasn't enough people that did complain and did not buy those DLCs. Probably they got overrun by the ones who maybe were naive or just want to choose to be naive, which is stupid. They keep buying it. So now it comes to the point that, yeah, Nintendo's doing the same thing. But and I still call like I said, I still call bullets, but you guys asked for this.
I'm not buying it. Look, I'm not fucking. I'm not buying it.
Yeah,
nope.
And here's the thing, even though I haven't bought an amiibo yet, but I am very, very interested in buying plenty of them. But I am not buying them for this.
I'm not doing it. No. Not when they're locking content. Like, okay, most of the content that they've had in games has been like negligible stuff. Like nothing really. You know, like if this game is like if you don't have this, you're missing out. There's nothing you're really missing out on if you don't have if you don't have the Splatoon amiibo, you're not really missing out. You're missing out on some outfits that aren't that high, that isn't like really badass gear. It's not like game breaking. It just looks cool.
You're missing out on extras.
But I mean, the extras aren't game breaking. It's not like the outfit that you get from scanning amiibo is all that badass. It's not. It's a 2-slot garbage. It looks cool, but that's it. It's not like, oh my god, this made the difference in a fight. Not really.
Except for that, that 2-piece armor, that 3-piece armor with the helmet.
No, even the 3-piece armor, its stats is garbage. It's not high stat. That's what I'm telling you. It's not like it's game breaking. It just looks cool, which is really what you want. I mean, you don't want stuff to be so you don't want content to be so. But I mean, let's keep it real.
I think break the balance.
Let's keep it real. The game already has a hard mode.
Yeah. But then on top of that, people is going to miss out that Zero Suit Samus that they would love to play.
It's the fusion suit. It's the fusion suit, which is not.
Oh yes, it is a fusion suit. But then here's the thing: some people did say, in order to show Nintendo that this is bullocks, they can still buy the game. They can still buy the amiibo if they so please, if they really want. That I can feel for them.
But we don't.
But they don't have to. They don't have to use the amiibo to unlock the content.
That sounds stupid, but I mean. Why lock content behind a paywall if it's not a paywall? Like it sounds like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. It doesn't work that way.
Well, here's the thing. I'm like, okay, I'll give them that benefit because that is some sort, even though it's kind of lackluster when you think about it, but it still holds merits that it would give Nintendo the sign that, hey, no one is using this to unlock this mode, even though many people buy the stuff. So probably next time they might not do it. But then here, and to be honest, that is a totally legitimate reason. But then some people actually brought it up that no, they might either just buy the game or even the amiibo secondhand and still use the amiibo to unlock that mode.
No, but that's not the problem. The problem is that they're locking content that should just be unlockable through expert gameplay behind a paywall. That's the problem.
Yeah, I agree. That is the problem. But that second argument that people brought up, that completely disregard the message that some really want to send, because Nintendo is not going to look at it's probably not going to look at the sales figure. They're just looking at it that people are actually using to get they're seeing the data that people are actually using it to unlock that hard mode.
I don't even think they're looking at that. They're seeing how many sales they get of the amiibo. They want to sell the amiibo. Whether or not you use it is they don't care. And as far as people buying used amiibos, who's trading in their amiibo?
Yeah.
I mean, you can find all that Disney Infinity shit all you want to, but it was seriously like, oh man, shit's kind of tough. I need to trade it. Are you getting any money for your amiibo? That's the question. I
was about to say, those usually cost.
I mean, I don't know anyone who's getting money off of amiibos. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Nintendo will see some sort of disparity that people are buying these things but not using it. So it'll probably discourage them. Discourage them to do this the next game that comes out. Because even though how small that that disparity is, it's still counted. It's still something.
You know, I think the reason they did this is because Metroid doesn't make a lot of money for them, and they want to augment how much profitability Metroid has for them. Because Metroid is not one of their top. It's not even the top.
I was gonna say this is a mix of profit and complaint service.
I
It's
think
a
they're
mix
just
of
like
profit where they want to sell more amiibos, but the thing is that they also heard the complaint that these things don't do enough, and then they put in something like this.
actually, I just think it's just like they don't make a lot of money. Like Metroid is not one of their top 10 franchises. It doesn't make a lot of money for them, and they're like, look, we want Metroid to be profitable, and this is hedging our bets. So this game doesn't have to sell nearly as well. I mean, really, because it is kind of made from scratch. It's not a new engine, so.
Yeah, sorry about that,
Stefan.
guys. I had to take care of family business, so I
Oh
mute
my
the mic.
gosh, man!
Sorry. No,
Yeah,
I couldn't
you
type.
missed-
I couldn't type nothing because something just happened just right now. So.
Nah,
Sorry.
man, it's understandable. We understand.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what?
Shit happens,
it's
man.
understandable. It's understandable, but man, so much that I really wanted your input, but
Well, I'll listen to it later. Yeah, sorry about that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What else y'all talking about? I just got like, I'm sorry. I wanted to
We
we're
were talking about
talking
how it's
about
BS for Nintendo to essentially lock the hard mode behind a paywall.
Yeah, well, like I said, if everybody's for me, if everything is good and that's what it is, and you can't get no other way than Amiibo, then okay, then yeah, Nintendo grew up and y'all asked for basically because these are the same people who say, hey, Nintendo gave it 2016 at the time. Remember? A lot of them was like that. Y'all, Nintendo's 2016. You need to be like this and that. No, they do exactly like Microsoft and Sony. Now you're bitching now.
That's exactly what I said.
I mean, I wanted Nintendo to be like they were back in the day, but can't do that anymore because
people bitch about stuff. I mean, come on. The Switch has certain things that the Switch has done stuff that I like it. It's still a dedicated gaming console. You have a cartridge. You don't have to install. You just play the game and have fun. I like that. That's a good part. But again, now that you have the pay it online, that's going to happen at the end of this year, and like you just said with the Amiibo thing, hey, yeah, it's going to be a little rough in some cases. I mean, to me, it doesn't. Well, like I said, I'll be up to my personal experience. Like to me, if I have to be petty about it, it's like being a Metroid fan, seeing what all the other people bitched about when they had Metroid Prime Echoes, and y'all bitched about it's too hard. I'm like, they can't win for nothing. No matter what they do, y'all gonna find a way to bitch about it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, complain, but don't complain the right way. Only haphazardly. So.
Well, I mean, it's just like, okay, look, like I just think it's one of those things that people really like. Like people like Nintendo, okay? People want to like Nintendo. People want to like the idea of Nintendo. But when Nintendo starts to do what they they don't want to do certain things, people are like, oh no, man, they shouldn't have done that. It's like, come on, man, that's just the way it is. It's sad, but I mean,
for most people, I want it to be at least because you guys need to be consistent. If you're gonna say certain things, just be consistent about it. Or if you're gonna show that you change your mind, show the evolution of you changing your mind. Most people don't do that because again, a lot of people is like, again, those are the same people. You can go back to a lot of these people videos. We could show you that said it's 2016. Time to get with the time. 2016, and read it. You've done it, read it. I've done it. Like when they're gonna do stuff for the Amiibos. They're gonna do certain things. You were like, you guys asked for it. Now you say, why? I'm like, that's why. Sad to say, what I brought up with the whole thing when on my podcast with Grim is like. That's why I am not saying EA was bad for it. I said they had the balls to do the thing with the smoke, My thing is, I'm talking to the specific YouTubers who say they don't like this stuff, but still buy it. That's my thing. You say you don't like this chicken, but you're still there buying the chicken. Why? Or taco, whatever you want to use the analogy. If you say you don't like this thing, why are you buying this thing? Don't be saying it out there.
If you don't want it, don't eat it. That's all we're saying.
Well, I mean, yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. So you guys were like, oh, they tend to get rid of 2017, okay, 16, back when it was 16. Okay, now it's 2017. They're doing stuff that I don't like, Red don't like, we don't like when they tend to go in this path. But
and if you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah. Because you guys spoke, most of y'all spoke willingly with Federation Force and just say, hey, we didn't want it and stuff like that. And it's funny now, as I said before, there's some people YouTubers have checked and said, oh, now that we getting Metroid Return of Samus and Metroid Prime 4, I'll go pick up Federation Force. Huh?
Come on, man. That only one person said that. And
No.
We know who said that.
I can list out a couple more people if you want me to list them off.
No, wait. Some people said that. It's just others accepted that as well.
I could list off names if you want me to, Red.
Please don't, because
okay. No, I'm not saying it's one person. I know you know the one person, but I know other people who say that crap too. That's my point.
I'm just saying, it just seems kind of weird to me that people are so,
wishy-washy.
Well, I mean, the thing is like Federation Force is not exactly what they wanted. It's like a side game, but that's what it is. It's a damn side game. Some of the best Metroid games are side games. I mean, hell.
I never thought Prime would have turned into a trilogy. Hell,
Prime is a side game.
I never thought it would turn into a trilogy, and it turned into a good trilogy. And like I said, I'll put it on BS Busters. One of my biggest fears in Prime 4 is I do not want a twin stick. I do not want a twin stick as an option. But that's the main way of playing that game.
You want to use it like Wiimote style, Wiimote Nunchuck style.
I want Wiimote Nunchuck, but they're not gonna do it. So at least the compromise will be Splatoon. That's the only way I could compromise.
No. I mean, but that's the thing. That's what I'm saying is that technically speaking, if you use the two Joy-Cons, that's basically Wiimote and Nunchuck.
Yeah, hopefully Nintendo shows how to use the IR and the other Joy-Con as a reticle, because nobody has done it yet. So it's up to Nintendo to show it. I hope they do it. I'm hoping. I'm not saying better. I just say that's one of my biggest fears for Prime 4. I do not want it to just be dual sticks. I'm not great with dual sticks. A lot of people do, but like you, Red, I'm thinking you like a piece mouse and keyboard, like mouse and keyboard. Okay. The remote control, yeah, that's what I'm at. I will work with it because I play Splatoon and with the gyro and everything, I'm acclimated to that. So have it as an option, but I'm saying I hope that's not the main. That's the way they set it up. But I think I don't know yet because we don't know.
I think they might go with that. That's all I'm saying. I think that they might because like Metroid Prime really like the best control scheme for Metroid Prime is the Wiimote Nunchuck style.
Yes,
that's the best because it's very intuitive. With the motion control, it's very intuitive. It's easier, and I mean, like Metroid Prime isn't a first-person shooter in the vein of, say, a Halo or a Call of Duty, but it has a lot of first-person shooter aspects. And all kind of stuff in it. Yeah, you need to know what's going on. You need to have fluidity to it, and I don't think you can get that level of fluidity with, just straight up traditional controls. Even Splatoon has the gyro thing, and that helps, but it's still not as good as Wiimote and Nunchuck. I'm sorry. Wiimote and Nunchuck gives you that precision.
Yeah.
Yep. Even gyro.
The gyro is nice. The gyro is a nice compromise. I wouldn't get ultra upset if they use gyro, but Wiimote and Nunchuck is like the best.
Yeah. If Nintendo find a way to use the IR and the other one to use, if they find a way to do it, and it could work, and it could do the positioning. I could think of a way to do it, but again, it's up to Nintendo if they want to do it. And if they do it, I'll take it. Using, like you just said, using the two Joy-Con as a remote and nunchuck. If they do it that way, I'm cool with that. But if they have to, because you got to also remember you're going to be playing it in handheld mode for other people. That's the sacrifice. That's the sacrifice a lot of games got to remember. They got to say, okay, we got to make sure the controls works on the screen and off the screen. So I just don't want it to be. I just don't want it to be just dual sticks. That's all I'm saying. I have no problem with being an option, but let's see.
Yeah.
So
Hey, we'll never know. Time will tell.
You sound like those commercials for how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? The world may never know. 1, 2, 3.
Got you.
Man, it's been a long time since I've heard that. Thank you for dropping me down memory lane, Red.
Good commercial.
Yeah, that's a good
Change those
commercial.
commercial. They should change it to "The world may never care."
It's a commercial. The commercial assumes that you want to know how many licks it takes to.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the nature of the commercial. You have to be invested in how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop. And if you aren't, well,
then you don't really care for the product itself. Because back then, that's what they did. They thought that that everybody wanted to know that. So yeah.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
Yep.
there were some good commercials back in the day for stuff. Tootsie Roll Pop.
Charms, Roll Pop, that was good too.
All of them. The one thing I hated was where they wouldn't give that character his Lucky Charms. They're like, the Cocoa Puffs, the Cocoa Pop. Just give us some damn Cocoa Pop. Shit, what's so special about these Cocoa Pops that no one else can enjoy it?
It's silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
I like the Family Guy where they went to Chinatown. The rabbit just broke the kid's neck.
What the hell?
You sure?
Silly rabbit,
Oh wow!
Yeah, the rabbit. They're like, oh, you can't have it. I'm like, who the fuck are you to tell this creature that he can't have anything? Who are you, you little bastard? No, I'm just cartoon logic was just really like. Some of the things we had as kids was just like some of the toys they had as kids, like Pet Rock. They literally had it was a rock with a face drawn on it, and they like you could buy like little like kits to go with your Pet Rock, like a hat and a wig. Just I mean, we had some like
we have bad toys, but you know what helped it because we had imagination.
Exactly.
Now we do not. A lot of kids now do not go up in imagination because they don't know how to be. They don't know how to be. As a friend of mine told me, when we were doing a radio show, like they don't know how to be bored no more. It's just like you got your phone, you got this, and you constantly entertain 24 seconds. 24.
Well, everything has to be so lifelike, you know. Like when we were kids, our video games were shit. Like we grew up with stuff like Atari and Nintendo, and even though the Atari and like Nintendo was better than Atari, you still had to use your imagination because Mario didn't look like no damn plumber on the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's like there was nothing plumber-like about a little red-haired dude with because his original colors weren't blue and red; it was brown and red. And we rolled with it.
Well, technically, that would be at the start of the Super Mario Brothers.
And when you got a power-up, he'd change colors to brown and white, but I mean red and white. But still, I mean, he wasn't like. It was still did that scream plumber to you?
It was still red and blue when he first appeared in Donkey Kong, but I don't know.
But if you've ever seen any of the manuals for Donkey Kong for the NES, Mario looked nothing like he does now. He looks weird.
Yes, that is true.
He looked like I remember the first time I saw because I played I saw the player manual for Super Mario for the SNES with those awesome cartoon drawings done by Amano. And then I saw the drawings for Mario for the Donkey Kong. I'm like, who the hell is this?
I mean,
that's not Mario.
I mean, he literally looked like a fat knockoff of Popeye.
Basically, yeah.
Literally like Popeyes.
And he had this really weird outfit that just looked weird.
Oh well, that's what happened. That's what it was then. So we had our own style of stuff. Oh,
and we had to use our imagination.
I'm just saying that's where you had a lot of creativity again. And we have Kanoshi have talked about this in the past, like before, like we talked about like how that like in the 90s and early 2000s is when like cartoons and like a lot of stuff was so cool then, because you had a lot. That's when you play a lot of old cartoons like Popeye and all that stuff. It wasn't PC and anything, or Speedy Gonzalez, whatever. And then we were getting the anime scene was coming over to America, and it was getting very strong and everything. And then that was a golden age for cartoons. Now, I can't tell you where it is now. Everybody's trying to bring back old cartoons now. Nostalgia. They look like someone doing it in the right way, I hope, like Disney and Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. Nah.
Yeah, Cartoon Network isn't what it used to be.
No, yeah. It's not away close to, because Teen Titans Go ain't got nothing to do with Teen Titans really itself. They should have just give it its own cartoon, because like that's no. Powerpuff the same way too. No, I mean,
the new Powerpuff Girls isn't very good.
I was surprised. Samurai Jack got what it was, and I said that's pretty cool, but it's not in the same vein as it was. And we had so much different varieties of cartoons back then compared to now, from what I've seen. I'm not saying I could be totally wrong about this, but when I used to watch Cartoon Network 24/7 when I was younger, we had the block where it was the old school cartoons like Looney Tunes and Huckleberry Finn and all those old stuff, like Hanna-Barbera cartoons and Tex Avery cartoons. Yeah, those little.
They showed Cartoon Network was a Cartoon Network. Now it's just a whole bunch of bullshit that they got a lot of reality shows to say that are like.
Well, it's kind of like MTV. Like, there's more reality than music.
They're all like that. Like, Food Network used to show people how to cook. Now it's a lot of reality shows. You can learn, or Iron Chef. No, there's nothing wrong with Iron Chef. There really isn't nothing wrong with Iron Chef. But watch the Japanese Iron Chef and then watch the American one. The Japanese one is so much better. It's tighter. They actually have cooking techniques and talk about like the origin of the food and where it came from. The American one is just some stupid cash-in bullshit. Hopefully, I heard that they're bringing back Good Eats with Alton Brown, so maybe we'll get.
I've been to his. I love him. I love Alton Brown. I've been to one of his live shows, which is very entertaining. It is very entertaining. I went to one, and he did the whole character list and everything, and I'm just laughing my butt off. But he does the science also with the food, but he does also the comedy in it, which I was surprised. I was on the show, but it's one of those things where you see, okay, is the show going to turn out what it is in real life? You know what I mean? And he did a good job, and I was entertained. It was like, I think my ticket was $40. I enjoyed it. It was good $40. I spent to watch that.
Yeah, he shows like his shows. He would like in Good Eats. He'd show the science behind it. Then he'd go over the history. Then they'd have a culinary archaeologist come in. That wasn't really what she was, but basically that's what she did.
Well, you know what? What I would like about his show was, like you said, all the characters on his show was people who was on his. He didn't specifically get these people. The big guy, he was his producer. The Asian lady who was Agent.
That was his chiropractor. Yeah,
that was his chiropractor. That was not his.
Wow. I mean, the guy who played Louis Pasteur in one of his things now plays Krieger on Archer. I mean, these.
I did not know that.
But hopefully they're bringing back Good Eats. Thank God, because food, like all of these shows, like Discovery used to show nature programs. Now all it shows are these weird. Hey, you want to see some rednecks? Oh, sorry, they're not even real rednecks. They're fake rednecks. You want to see some fake rednecks pretend to live in the wild? Not really, no.
Because after Bear Grylls, what happened to Bear Grylls, where his thing was a lie. Yeah, that kind of dropped down the thing.
Well, there was a dude they used to have who used to like they put me out here with my cameras and like a match and some beef jerky and a knife. and he was called Survivor Man, and that shit, his show was awesome. But then they got Pretty Boy Bear Grylls because he was pretty. The Survivor Man guy looked like a dude you see on the street. Like he looked like a dude, like you and me, like a normal dude you see on the street. So Bear Grylls, they're like, we need someone who's pretty. I'm like, look, listen, this is someone who supposedly you're someplace where you don't have access to a stable thing of water, so you're not washing regularly. You smell, you're kind of grungy. Why would you need someone pretty doing that? Except Bear Grylls goes too far. It's like, I'm gonna take this elephant turd and squeeze the water out of it. I'm like, no one would do that.
Good night.
Yeah, no one would do that. I'm gonna eat this ox's eyeball. No one would do that. Even in a survival situation, I'd rather eat fried grasshoppers before I eat a ox eyeball. But that's neither here nor there.
Someone would eat that.
Well, I really shouldn't talk because when I was in Japan, I ate a tuna eyeball that had been slow braised for like 3 hours and turned into like a jelly, and we put it on rice crackers. It was actually really good. But
here's the thing, Red. Did you know it was an eyeball?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Because this was like a little like mom and pop diner, and the guy was really happy because tuna is insane. High quality tuna is insanely expensive.
Yep,
in Japan.
It is.
And they,
fatty tuna, holy crap!
And this guy got a head, and that's why he was so happy. He's like, "Yeah, you come on in. I got a head today at the tuna exchange." And we came in, and he showed us the head. And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna use this whole thing. We're gonna cut the cheeks off. We're gonna take the bones and use that to make a stock. Like they do." Japanese cooks take nose to tail to a whole different level. He's like, I'm gonna make a surprise with the eyeballs. Now it was in Japanese. My translator had to, but I was like, what is he gonna make with the damn eyeballs? I mean, that's what I was thinking in my head. And we came back 3 hours later after shopping and dicking around and trying other stuff. And he was like, yeah, I braised this for 3 hours and I put some sake on it, some miso paste, and some oyster sauce. I'm like, okay, try it. I was like, damn, this is pretty damn good. This is mighty tasty.
Yeah. Well, like I said, about going to basically what we're going for. Like back in those days, we had imagination. We had certain things to do that came in game, and now everything has to be experienced through being this proficient way of doing things. So you know what? Hey, look, you ask for certain things, you get it. Now don't be bitching about it. Again, if anybody's listening, we on their side. It's kind of bad that they tend to lock it underneath the amiibo. If, like I said, if everything works out and there's no way to get around it, then yes, it's bad that they tend to lock it on amiibo. But as a business company, one thing I'll give Nintendo one caveat. They told you this back in 2013 that's what amiibo is going to do.
Yep.
They told you that straight up when Amiibo came out. They said we're gonna put features with the Amiibos so you have value with the Amiibos. Now,
but I mean, here's the thing. I don't think what people in their head thought Amiibo would be versus what it actually. I don't think they were like, this is not the same thing we're talking about. That's what I think.
Well, everybody had. You see, here's the thing, though. There's a lot of things that's going on. Everybody have a notion of what something's gonna be, but even though somebody told, okay, it's like saying, okay, hey, this is gonna be a certain. The people who present to you, they say, hey, we're gonna use this for this, but you thinking, but I saw other people do it. I think you're gonna be doing it like the other people. Like that's what it is. I think people have the presumption of that. Everybody else, even though they come out and told you, we're gonna do it this way, so it is
okay. So maybe they made too many assumptions.
Well, no, because the reason I said that assumption because everybody thought they're gonna be, and I say it's up to Nintendo to do this game, but everybody thought that Nintendo was gonna do like Skylanders, it's gonna be a toy to life game. That's where everybody, come on, man, you know back then that's what everybody's like. It's gonna go to that route. That's what most people was thinking.
I agree. That's what. And here's the thing. I still am not going to count it out that Nintendo can make a game that from the ground up you need.
No, I'm not either. But
this is them adding more value to the amiibo because literally there's an entire hard mode locked behind this amiibo. So,
yeah. And I that's what it is. I can't say anything because I bought the special Samus edition with the amiibos. So
Yeah,
That's what mine came into that.
I've got my Samus amiibo, and I'll probably get these even though I won't use them because I'm like, I have weird principles like that. I'll buy it. I'm not gonna use it though.
Nah, I mean, if the game is as fun as it is, I will try it as a challenge more later on. But I wanted them. I'll be honest. I wanted amiibos because I just wanted amiibos. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. Like I like Samus. Like I have the Link amiibos. I have the Samus amiibos, but like I haven't really gotten any of the people buying all these different amiibos. I have the entire collection, and I don't.
Well, that's for them. Okay, but again, that's what I said. That's for people who want those collections. Like for me, I have a couple amiibos, but I don't have. I would say less than 15, as I have. Because and again, I bought them not for what they could do in the game. I'm not gonna lie with anybody out there. I didn't buy them for what they could do in the game. I bought them because cool little, as you would say, Ben, with one of your words, little Benny, just little collectibles on the side. That's cool because some of them are really detailed really nicely. I gotta say, the first set wasn't when Nintendo was rolling it out, but it got to the point where like, hey, you gotta detail this thing, and some of them really do look good. Because I have the real one that looks very nice.
Yeah,
the Steel Suit Samus one, I like that too.
Before you go any further, Jewel's having a bit of an issue. Jewel, give your sign off so you can go and get yourself taken care of.
Well, very much for the food thoughts.
That's Red do that to you.
You know what?
Yeah, I had to get up for.
You got a little too. You got a little too. You sound like you're a person who visualizes things when people describe it. Because I was like, that's just disgusting, and I would never eat that.
but you didn't put it in her mind, Red.
I would have to apologize for that because I was the one who lengthened that discussion.
No, it's all right. Well,
we went a little too far.
We apologize for that.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're sorry, but I think we've exhausted. I mean, we talked about legitimate reasons to complain about Nintendo doing things versus just people just I just want a reason to bitch.
Yeah.
And we got to Triple M's free topic. So anyone have anything they want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
I will say this. It's on my channel. The only thing that's really important that I would like to tell people, the breakdown of Nintendo's financials. If you want to know really what's out. And also, I provided a graph from Nintendo itself that you can go from. Remember everybody was talking 2014 doom and gloom, and you look at the graph, they were still making good money.
Yeah, Nintendo was actually losing money, but no, that's not the case.
Nintendo's still.
So if you want to go that, it's called breakdown Nintendo financials first quarter. I think you'll see that, and it's a long video if you want to talk to it. But if you want to learn stuff about that, then you go ahead and watch that video. That's the only thing I will pimp out. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will pimp out. Pimp out two websites, but I got to talk. There's something I have to talk about them. Now to the person that's running the Patriots.com or Patriots, I think it was Patriots.com site. There was one article of his or post or news bits that I have an issue with, and I thought he would actually fix it. Mr. Matto. The whole thing about the Switch doesn't have enough buttons, Derp. It wasn't. It wasn't. Dang it, Brett.
I already made a video about this, but go ahead.
I just want to correct his article. It wasn't Cliff Blazinski that said that. It wasn't. Yeah, it was the lead designer of Cliff Blazinski's, goes by the name of Dan Nanny.
That's even worse. You want to know why that's even worse? Because the language of programming is mathematics. Like Induo would tell you that isn't mathematics an important part of architecture?
Yeah.
Design. So you're in a job where you need to have a firm grasp of mathematics and you can't count 12 to 16 buttons. Now, the reason I say 12 to 16 is because the D-pad, technically, those are 4 directional buttons. So if you want to count those as buttons, you can. So 12 to 16 buttons, you can't count that. That's the standard amount of buttons on every single controller. You can't, that's, really?
Where can somebody be for them to use the excuse that the controller has no buttons that they could really use?
Now, if he was talking about the Wiimote, you know, maybe, you know, you'd have something to say, you know, but I mean, you know, individual Wiimotes, but
yeah. But yeah, even though it is worse coming from a lead designer, it's still the correct the correct news. Yeah, but yeah. Now on to video game facts. I actually wanted to bring this up some time ago, but I kept forgetting. There was this article way back that now I cannot find. So discuss. You might as well put a search button on that thing or something like that, because those tags.
They only work so long.
Yeah, there's only enough that you can actually use them. So yeah, but this article it was basically a reply to, I think it was either it was a reply to Liger's cast when Mr. Grimpachi was on.
Okay.
I didn't. Now here's the thing. This author, if you're listening, or if there's a chance that you're listening, even though not many people would want to read or would want to be in that discussion, I do. So please don't discourage, because I actually want to see other people's point of view, and if it's really if it's really something that you really want to address, which some replies that at least one reply that you had actually did bring up a good argument, even though I didn't check it out, which I still have to. But yeah, so if there's any time that you have to bring something up that not many would like to discuss, well, I'm your eyes, I'm your brains, because it really makes me thought something that I haven't thought before. So yeah, just pointing that out. So, well, basically giving a shout out to Pytrits.com and Video Game Facts. Cool websites. But yeah,
Pytrits is awesome. I'll definitely put Video Game Facts in the description feed and in the chat feed so people can go there, because these are really great places. Tend to have a lot less bullshit in their posting, aside from other websites, one of which is now defunct, which shall not be named.
Yeah. So yes, shout out to those two sites, and this has been Triple M.
Tastes like juicy fruit with a mix of cyanide.
No, come on,
Why you always do that? Why you always do that?
Come on, man.
Why you always do that, man?
You know, I mean, I know you like to troll, but I mean, at this point, look, the man's site doesn't exist anymore. I mean, come on, man.
You know that song, kick 'em either up, kick 'em either down.
Damn.
Kick 'em all around.
No, man.
Not say that. On the down.
Pour it down the toilet and flush it. It's gone, okay?
Yeah. This website, not everyone.
Yeah. And with that being said, this is Mr. Red Fox. It's been, it's been a slog. I have a new podcast that might come out later on this month that's not going to be about video games. It's going to be about science fiction.
I was going to say, I thought your tabletop event.
No, it's a podcast. I have to get other people involved. Like my Tavern Tales is just me by myself recounting things that happened in the past. This is going to be, I'm going to have to get a panel together. So if people want to be involved with it, you just send me a thing saying, you're interested. It's going to be on the it's going to be maybe an hour, not too long. And relatively regimented. We're not going to go off the rails. The topics will be 3 to 5 topics, and we'll get that out the way. So if you want in, let me know. Leave it in the chat section. We can have a dialogue. And peace.
I forgot one thing. Google Plus. I hate the fact that if I have to go to someone's post, especially when they have an event, I would like to go to that same post with the same account that I'm using, which is my brand account, not my other account. Please fix that bullocks.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. Yeah.
Well, yep.
I don't like that. They make me mad. Make me mad. Yeah, like if I try to get into someone's thing, I have to switch my account while I'm in the chat to my brand account because it's Google. So with that being said, good night. Thank you for joining. We didn't go too far over time, only 45 minutes. Peace out. Good night and enjoy yourselves.